Hey, hello guys. So let's move forward. So now we have done with that modeling part. We have learned how to create the data models and all the stuff. I think my Power BI has been suddenly closed. Let me check on that for that. No problem. I'll open it once again. Or maybe it was already opened up. Yeah. So before we conclude the part of this module, module 5, we'll yeah, before we conclude the part of this module 5, I'll load my previous data set once again. No problem. But before that, we want to talk some more, little bit more points about this data modeling part. Okay, sometime as I already told you in the previous module that how can you create the date table inside your inside Power Query Editor and how you can load that date table here into the Power BI. But there is one more way of doing it. Let me tell you, because it may be required that you don't need to go to Power BI. You sometimes we don't need to go to Power Query Editor. How can we do it in Power BI itself? How can we create a date table here in Power BI itself? So what we can do is we can go on to the modeling tab and we can click on new table. Okay. So the table it is asking us to give the table name. So what I'll say is I'll put the expression as let's say my dim date or maybe calendar. It will be more easy to understand in that way. So calendar table. For that I'll use the function also, but we can't use the calendar keyword because it's a function. What we can use is the dim date table, no problem. And I'll use the calendar function. There are two functions, calendar and calendar auto. I'll explain the difference between both. So first we are using the calendar function. So calendar function needs three values inside that: start date, two values, sorry, start date and end date. We will use the date function inside that. The date function itself needs three arguments. So I don't know where my data set is beginning and where my data set is ending. I don't want to see all those values. I just want to say, okay, create a calendar table from me from starting from 2010. Okay, month 01 and day 01. Close it, put another date function for the second date, the closing date. I want the data till 2020. Okay, the starting month is ending month is 12, sorry, and the last date is 31st. Okay, close it, done. It will create a dim date table for you, which is having a date inside that, a calendar inside that, and inside this calendar we have all the values now. The date it is now. Let me explain you this. What is the role of the mark as date table as well? Last time also it has been left as a topic. Let me tell you what is the meaning of this mark as date table as well. Let's see what happens if I let's say I am removing this for right now. I don't want this table appear here. What I'll do is I'll drag it here and make it small a bit. Okay, and I'll come back here. And then what I'll say is I'll check my the total price value from supplier to table, and I want to check it by if I take this hierarchy. Okay, maybe possible we don't have the relationship created between the tables that is giving in that way. But what happens whenever we take this date hierarchy? The problem is it takes it into the year, month, quarter, everything. It gives us start giving us in that way. Even if I click on the date column, it gives me the hierarchy, the date, year, month, everything. And I don't want it given to be in a hierarchical mode. So what I can do is I can go onto my modeling tab. Yeah, I can go into my dim date table. This on this we are now on the table tools option and mark this table as a date table. As soon as I do that, it will ask me which is the date column. Yes, date column, done, and mark it as a date table now. That hierarchy has gone now. I only have the date, and now it's up to me whether I want to see it maybe month wise or year wise, whatever I want to see. It's up to me. We don't want that table to be marked as a in a hierarchical way. To remove that hierarchy, we need to mark the table as a date table. If you need to use that hierarchy, you can use it, but case if you need to remove it so that we can create the relationship properly between the two tables, we should remove the hierarchy. Okay. So for that, what you can do is you can click on this three dot ellipsis button as well. You will find as a mark as date table option here, or you can go onto the table tools and click on mark as date table. So now there is no date hierarchy inside this table. Will not find it. So what next we need to do is we need to create the relationship between the date table and the supplier table from where you want the value. So what we can do is, first of all, for maintaining this relationship, what we can do is we can patch the year part. So how can you get that? Go to your dim date table, add a new column. Okay, the name of that column I'll give it as a year value, and the function I'll use for that is year. From which date I want to fetch the year? I want to fetch the year from this my date uh, column of dim date table. Date column of dim date table. Done. It will give me the year value. Similarly, you can find the month, and similarly you can find the other values as well. So now what you can do is go to your data model and create the relationship between this year and the supplier to year value. Okay. Yes, the many to many relationship done. And now go back here and put the year wise value. I'll have to check for the data set once. I'm not very confirmed that how the values are, but that's okay. That's not our purpose right now. We have done with our purpose that we wanted. We wanted to see that how to mark a table as a date table. So that's it for this model as well. We have done with module 5. We have done with the model. So I want you, all of you, to create the model for the data set which we are using for all of our lab purpose. Okay. So I want you to create your own model. Be ready with the data model. Load your model into your Power BI desktop, and so that now in the next half, in the next module, we'll be working on the DEX expressions. As I have already introduced a little bit on DEX, what if not the expressions which we have just used here, these are all DEX expressions. Okay, we'll talk about DEX in detail. We'll talk about the new measures and the quick measures. What are the meaning of these? How to create some very much required measures. We'll talk about on those points. Okay, and then once we'll be ready with all the tables, with all the measures which are required, we'll slowly move in forward for creating the understanding the visualizations part. Start creating the reports properly. Okay, and then finally jumping up to publish the report and start creating the dashboards. So that's it for this topic for the data modeling part. I have some questions for you before we wind up the session. So let's discuss about some topics which we have discussed here inside the data module session. So let's check what you have understood. Let's have a look on these questions very properly. The first question is, what is the meaning of a granularity? So does it mean the filter condition that is associated with the relationship between two columns? Does it mean the level of details that is represented in the data? It is a many-to-many relationship, or it is kind of a schema design? Definitely, it's not a kind of a schema design. The schema design is star schema or snowflake, so it's incorrect. Data granularity is a many-to-many relationship. No, it is having no meaning with your relationship. The data granularity is the level of detail that is represented in the data. Yes. So that's a technical term, data granularity. If you need to, whenever you face this word, whenever you find this word anywhere, you just think in that way, that data granularity means the level of data that is represented in my data set. Okay, and the last one is the filter. No, it is not related to your filtering condition. So B is the correct answer. Now, next is, what is the difference between a fact table and dimension table? I hope all of you can answer it in a very clear way, because we have discussed on that in a lot of depth. Okay. So first of all, if I see from down below, if I start seeing looking at the options, dimension tables tell you about specific roles in Power BI. No, there is no connection of dimension tables or fact table with the roles in Power BI. We'll talk about roles and security very later on. There is no difference. Yes, no, it is incorrect, because there is a difference. The fact table contains information about specific entities, while dimension tables contains about observational data. Is it just opposite? This is just opposite to the correct answer. A is the correct answer. Why? Because fact table contains observational data. Yes, the fact table contains those numbers which are the observational data, and the dimension table gives the context to it. Okay, so the dimension tables contain information about specific entities. Yes, a context. A is the correct answer. Next question. What is cardinality? A very important question. So cardinality is a type of visual element. No, starting from D once again. The cardinality definitely it's not a visual element. Cardinality is how long it takes for the data. No, it does not have any connection with that. Cardinality is no. The cardinality and the granularity, they are two different keywords. And the cardinality is the direction that it flows. Yes, that is what that is where the direction comes in picture. The direction how the data is getting filtered. Okay, so that means A is correct for this one as well. That cardinality means the direction that the data flows in the relationship between two tables. So that is absolutely correct. No problem. So if we summarize the whole module, in this module, what we have discussed, what is data modeling, what is the importance of data modeling, what will happen if we will not have the correct data model, how we will get the incorrect values in the report. I have shown you here, and then we have talked about the schemas, the model schemas, the R schema and snowflake schema, some terms like granularity and the cardinality, how to create the relationship between tables, how to manage the relationship here in Power BI. We have seen how to create the new relationship and how to manage the already existing relationship. How Power BI also helps in this. While we work on this managed relationships, the Power BI helps us by auto detect, and how can we create the new relationship ourselves, and even how can we check about the directions and the cardinality. Okay, so that is also we have learned. We have checked how to check the properties of the relationship between the tables, all that stuff, the associative tables and all that stuff. Thank you. Go through and make sure that you are ready with all the questions, and thanks a lot.